Here we go, number 2 is a meaty one. Look, 6 marks and another 6 marks. So, right, I've got a circle, I've got a line. I know the equation of the line, I know the equation of the circle. Okay, I'm going to try and find where do these two things meet each other, here and here. So, the whole point of an equation, right, is every single point on this line has this property that 2 times the x coordinate, take away the y coordinate, add 5, and the answer is 0. Every point on the circle has this property here about its x and y coordinates. So the only 2 places in the world where the circle and the line meet is where this is true and this is true. In other words, solve them simultaneously to find the crossing points. So, where do the lines meet? I'm going to first of all rearrange this one to say y equals. I think that'll make quite useful help. So y equals 2x plus 5. And then what I'm going to do is just substitute. See where I've got y? It's the same thing as this. They're equal. It says so, right? So everywhere in here I see a y, I'm going to stick that. So what am I going to get? X squared plus 2x plus 5 squared minus 6x minus 2, lots of, 2x plus 5. Take away 30 equals 0. Okay, bit of a mission. Let's do it. We get 6 marks for it. Expand that out. That's a double bracket, right? 2x plus 5 squared times by itself times 2x plus 5. So let's go. I've got my x squared from there. 4 more x squareds from there. 2 times 5 is plus 10x plus another 10x. 5 times 5 is plus 25. Minus 6x minus 4x minus 10 minus 30 equals 0. So, just like organise my life a bit, okay? That's 5x squared altogether. 10, 10, minus 6, minus 4, plus 10x, plus 25, minus 10, minus 30. Hang on. So that's 15. So negative 15 equals 0. Okay, that's good. This will be much, much easier if what we do is we divide everything by 5, right? So x squared plus 2x minus 3, 0 divided by 5 is still 0. That I can factorise fairly easily, I hope, because to get x squared, I just need an x and an x. To get the negative 3, I'm going to have a positive 3 and a negative 1 times together, because that will give me my positive 2. So what are the solutions? X equals 1, x equals minus 3. Don't think you've finished yet, team, because we need to find the whole coordinates. We need the y coordinates. So you can substitute these into that mess or into the easy thing. Your pick, okay? I'm going to put them in the easy thing. So what have I got here? I've got y equals 2 lots of 1 plus 5. What does that give me? Y equals 7. So that one and that one give me the coordinate 1, 7. Here, y equals 2 lots of minus 3 plus 5, which I think is negative 1. That one and that one give me the coordinates negative 3 for x, negative 1 for y, or 1 for x and 7 for y. So, there we go. I've found the coordinates of P and Q. I guess I could work out which one's which, right? Let's have a little quick look. So x is negative 3 or x is positive 1. So I'm guessing this is going to be Q, because that's a bigger x number, that's a smaller x number. Also, that's a big y number, and that's a small y number. So, good. Right, what's going on in diagram 2? Another circle has been added. Okay, it's a congruent circle, same size, same radius, that kind of jazz. Goes to the same points. Find its equation. Right. Circles, equations, we know the key facts are things about the radius and the centre, really. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I've got a plan. We're going to figure out the centre of the original circle here. Let's call it C1. What we're going to do then is somehow find out like how to get across this line, straight across, directly across to that line. And then we're going to kind of do the same thing, keep going across until we get to the center of circle 2. When we know the center of circle 2, we'll just write down its equation. We'll know its radius because obviously it's the same as this radius. How am I going to know which way to go and where to go straight across? I think the top tip is that this is the middle, right? That's exactly the middle between P and Q. So if I find out the midpoint of PQ, I can figure out how to do that, do the same thing again to find that center, and then just write down the equation at the end of the day. So let's do this thing. First job, for this circle, figure out the center and the radius. So what do we know? We know that C1 has this equation, x squared plus y squared minus 6x minus 2y minus 30 equals 0. On our formula sheet, we have the equation of a circle information, and it tells us basically, right, that this one here, if you match it up to the formula sheet, then this bit here is going to be 2gx. Match it up to the formula sheet. The bit by the y is going to be 2fy. So what we can work out is that because 2g is negative 6, g is going to be negative 3. 2f is negative 2, so f is going to be negative 1. And it tells us for that equation, the top equation on the whole formula sheet, it tells us the center of the circle, center 1, is going to be at negative g, negative f. In other words, negative negative 3, so 3, minus minus 1, so 1. Okay, so center of circle 1 is at 3, 1. It also tells us the radius of circle 1 is going to be the square root of g squared plus f squared minus c, which is going to be the square root of negative 3 squared plus negative 1 squared minus minus 30. That bit being c from our top equation formula, just matching it up. So that's going to be the square root of 9. So whenever you square anything negative, it's positive, right? So 9 plus 1 plus 30. So that is the square root of 40. That'll do, we'll leave it like that. So, plan. I know C1. It is at 3, 1. Good. I know R1. R1 is going to be root 40. That means R2, because they're congruent, the same circle, is also going to be root 40. I just need to find out C2, and the plan was find out the midpoint of these guys, and then I can just step to the midpoint and do the same again, right? So the midpoint of P and Q, let's work that out. So let's do it here. So mid of P and Q. How do I do it? Well, I know the coordinates. They are just here. I take the average of the x coordinates. So that's like minus 3 plus 1 over 2. Take the average of the y coordinates. So it's like 7 minus 1 over 2, which is going to give me negative 2 over 2, which is going to give me 6 over 2. In other words, minus 1, 3. Okay, that's interesting. So the center is at 3, 1. The midpoint is at minus 1, 3. Okay. So how am I going to get from 3, 1 to, so this is from C1 to the midpoint, to minus 1, 3. How do I do it? Well, I go down 4 and I go up 4. So down 4 in the x-coordinate, up 4 in the y-coordinate. So how am I going to get from the midpoint to the center 2? I'm going to do the same thing. Go down 4 in the x, up 4 in the y. So down 4 in the x, the midpoint was minus 1, 3. Go down 4 in the x, and I've got to minus 5. Go up 4 in the y, and I've got to 7. Okay? So what have we got? We've got C2 is going to be at minus 5, 7. That's the center of circle 2. Radius 2 is the same as radius 1, is root 40. Okay? So all we do then, use equation of the circle version 2 from the formula sheet, okay? And we can just write down x minus 5 squared plus y minus 7 squared equals root 40 squared, or in other words, x plus 5 squared plus y minus 7 squared equals 40, and that is a very beautiful equation of the second circle.